Hello and welcome back to episode 8. This episode was a long time coming due to the unlock of Steel Path. Additionally, I also took a small break to play Blade and Soul release, and so we'll be catching up on some of the content here. I did miss out on a few days for the standing, but that's totally fine. Right, nobody's expecting you to play every single day. So let's get right into it. So now that we've finished the new war quest, we also need to start farming the little duck reputation. This is of course because we need to upgrade our amp for later content in the game, such as the Angels of Zariman. Our amp will be good enough for now, especially with the Madurai school, but preferably we want to upgrade as soon as possible. There are a few ways that you can get yourself Little Duck standing. As previously spoken, you could do it through toroids. There are two decent ways to farm toroid. One of them is to start the heist number 2 mission, which would of course require you to already be maxed out or rank 5 with Solaris United to have the heists unlocked. The other method would be to get alert rank 5, then go under the spaceport into the underground caverns, and there is a safe spot where you can farm the monsters safely to get all the toroids you need. The alternative method, and the one I'll be showing and focusing on, is simply doing the final bounty that is against the Narmer faction. This is because the bounty gives something akin to toroids that gives you standing both with the quills and the little duck. Of course, you'll still have to get normal toroids every now and then due to the rank up requirements, so do keep an eye out for that. Additionally, at this point in the game, this is also a very decent way for us to get endo. You get anywhere between 1200 to 2000 endo from these bounties, and you're chancing that between the Narmer toroids, if you will, and the endo. There are also useful mods in there here between, and you're of course getting Caliban and other things. So now begins the heavy grind towards unlocking Steel Path. So if you've never done this before, you have to complete every single node on the star chart. There are some exceptions, that being the Eris Mutilist Alad V boss fight and the Joras Precept boss fight at the end of the quest, but generally speaking you're expected to complete every single node. That would include the newest content being the Hex. It also includes the Sanctum Anatomica missions and of course the Zariman spaceship missions. In total, I think there is somewhere 250 to 270 missions that you need to complete. We've probably only done slightly above half at this point, unlocking every single junction, so it's gonna take a while. And like I said previously, for the purpose of these videos, I do need to unlock Steel Path before the end of the week to be able to get the Torrid and the dual Toxicist Incarnants. Usually this would of course be a much smoother progress for you. You don't need to rush it as hard, and you can simply focus on crafting different things and slowly unlocking all these different missions. If you would like, you can also finish Duviri at this point. So just like on Zariman, once you unlock the Sanctum Anatomica, you have to finish every single mission type here. One thing to note with these missions is as you're doing them, you have to look around for Voca on the Sanctum and for the Quills on the Zariman. You do get them as bounty rewards, and other people in the missions do usually look for them as well. But I highly recommend that you try and learn the tile set yourself and figure out all the different little puzzles so that you can get Voca and Quills very quickly as necessary. You'll be requiring a lot of standing in all these different locations, so this is something that the sooner you get started on, the better you'll be at it and the faster you can complete these missions. There are a few things to note. I've been saying quills, it's actually plumes. But I highly recommend that you do the exterminate bounty because you do get rewards at the end of the bounty. So that way you're simply guaranteed to get more plumes. Additionally, the opinion plumes are only acquired by killing the Void Angels. However, the Void Angels in the Armageddon game mode do not count. The only Void Angels that give you the Pinion Plumes are the Void Angels that spawn naturally on every single mission. You need to look out for big rooms, you'll see a statue of them, or that's the Void Angel itself, you will wake it up, and then you have to defeat it. The bounties also have challenges attached to them, and be careful with some of the challenges. Sometimes it might have a time limit on it, and sometimes it might simply say complete this mission without any abilities. Obviously, that's a death sentence for us at this point, and you might want to simply come back to it later, or try a different bounty such as Void Flood. The problem, of course, with the different types of missions is that they're not as conducive to looking for Voca or plumes, so the same thing applies to Sanctum. You want to be picking the Exterminate because you don't want the added pressure of survival on top of looking for the plumes or the Voca. Additionally, specific to the Sanctum, just like there are the angels on the Zariman ship, there are the necromechs on the Sanctum. So on the Sanctum, you want to be killing the necromechs. They give you lanthorn, and lanthorn is required in a lot of different recipes and rank up material, so you definitely want to keep an eye out for that. The necromechs can be a little bit tough, but we definitely have more than enough damage to kill them with our current builds. Both the mag and the mirage build can easily do that. Generally speaking, the builds that we've crafted here are already steel path ready for the most part. They are on the squishier side, but that's to be expected. And as previously stated, you can slow down at any point in time and acquire tankier frames or put in more defensive mods at the cost of forma. For example, the one frame that I've named previously would be the Revenant frame. I did end up personally skipping it because it wasn't really necessary to do the index, at least for me personally, but it is an incredibly tanky frame that can do most content in the game relatively easily. It of course struggles with the fact that it doesn't really amp up your damage or have much clear outside of its 4. And you'll quickly notice when we start doing Steel Path that the Dance Macabre 4 that Revenant has, the damage will fall off very quickly. So it's only really usable in like early Steel Path, but the frame is very tanky and can survive all content in the game very comfortably. So as I've stated in one of the previous episodes, one of the goals for this account is going to be hit MR11. That is required for dual tox assists. Besides that, I'll be using the Torrid, and of course as new incarnates come out or as we acquire primed weapons and things like that, I'll of course keep things updated in that regard. So in order to unlock the Hex quest, we need to complete Duviri, so we'll be doing that. Then after that, it's straight to the Hex and Steel Path unlock is in sight.
Ever get that feeling you're stuck? Spinning inside your little wheel, only to find you're right back where you started. And so it goes. Day by day, year by year, until you're dead inside. You feel nothing. You're just a prisoner, trapped in the spiral of someone else's dream.
They begin again.
You've made the king furious. And not just him. Me! We've both had enough of you! By order of His Majesty Dominus Thrax, death
By impale.
You will look at me when I...
But you can send it back to hell.
Aha! Even better! Death by... meteor!
What the Wake up, wake up.
So here's a quick mastery rank up. I've seen these stealth challenges pose problems for people. You can of course pick a stealth frame like Loki, but generally speaking in Warframe you make no sound unless you do some kind of gunshot. Bows are naturally silent, melee weapons are naturally silent. Even if we do our glaive toss and do the explosion, that is still considered silent. Funnily enough, in that regard, you could take an explosive weapon like the Tsar and put Hush on it, which would make it 100% silent if you've never tried that before. So the best way to be stealthy in Warframe is to actually play fast, act before the enemy can turn around, and then keep moving. I'll let this one play out so you get the idea. So now it's just a hex left and then all of the missions on the hex, and we'll finally have the steel path unlocked.
It's December 31st, 1999. Let's say goodbye to the old year with a track you all know and love from global sensation Online.
Not again! Bastard!
So in order to unlock this steel path circuit, we'll need to do the normal difficulty circuit and the lone story at least once. Just so you know, for the circuit, it's an endless mode, so all you really have to do is just a single round. You can do that solo, it takes just like 1 or 2 minutes, unless of course you get the survival for 5 minutes, but that's pretty easy anyway. As for the general gameplay on Duviri, You know, you complete the challenges, you get your decrees, you pick up the modes, usually trying to empower your drifter, not your Warframe, because your Warframes are usually more than strong enough. That is for the lone story or the Duviri experience. Of course, for the circuit, you want the opposite. You want to empower your Warframes as much as possible. Also, one more thing as of note for Duviri, your progress is saved after every single decree acquired. So if you have to run Duviri just to acquire some materials, go out in the world, collect the materials you need, pick up a decree by completing a challenge, and then you feel free to leave the Duviri experience. You don't need to kill the Aura Worm. Of course, it is highly recommended to kill the Aura Worm. It's the only way to get Pathos Clamps. And do keep an eye out for the arena on the Duviri experience, because that's the way you get Kullervo. Kullervo is a very powerful melee frame that I highly recommend. So with everything settled unlocks wise, here's how it's going to look. We're going to pick the Torrid and the Dual Toxicist. The other good option this week would be the Mitre. The Atomos and Dual Icor are good weapons as well, but I wouldn't prioritize them over the others. Whichever you pick first will be unlocked at rank 5, and the second will be unlocked at rank 10. The rotation happens once a week, so you'll have the entire week to complete it all the way up to rank 10. The content doesn't require you to have any specific mods or anything like that. Of course, if you have your own loadouts, it's better. Right, if we get our Mirage or Mag, it's just gonna be even better inside the circuit. But if not, it is what it is. You just try and play it out and hope that other people can perform better than you. As for the Incarnons themselves, once you acquire the actual Incarnon, you can go to Cavallero on the Zariman, and he will be able to apply the Incarnons to an actual weapon for you. That will require a bunch of materials that are all farmed on Duviri, so do keep an eye out for that. Once all of that is complete, you'll finally have your Incarnon and be able to progress its evolution steps. Besides that, we've achieved all of our goals for the video. Thank you so much for watching. This was a long episode coming, but it was fun. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.